Welcome in to Texans Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Tough loss against the Atlanta Falcons yesterday, 21-19. I'm going to be doing a little horns up, horns down, breaking down everything with that Texans-Falcons game. But before we get into that, I want to run through a little bit of injury notes and news for you. Oh, my goodness. First off, Tank Dell left the game with a concussion. He's currently in concussion protocol. Don't know if he will be able to go this next Sunday up against the Saints, but he'll have to pass through the NFL concussion protocol before he can get back on a field anytime soon. Same could be said about Christian Harris. He was a surprise inactive against the Atlanta Falcons. Christian Harris came in on Friday with concussion-like symptoms, was out Sunday against the Falcons. He'll have to keep on progressing, go through that NFL concussion protocol before he gets on the NFL field as well. Shaq Griffin, another inactive this past weekend. Secondary is looking really thin. He was out. Stingley was out. A couple guys had to step up. Good job by Kadar Holman and company and Steven Nelson. But Shaq Griffin dealing with a calf injury. Don't know the severity of it. Was limited in practice, so he's able to move on it, able to practice on it somewhat. Let's see if he'll be good to go this next Sunday, as well as nickel corner Tavierre Thomas. He's been out a couple weeks with a hand injury. I don't know if he'll be good to go up against the Saints. I mean, with a hand injury, hard to get your hand on the ball whenever it's hurt. So we'll see if Thomas will be out there. And then Scruggs. When will he play? He was on short-term IR, just came off short-term IR. So will we see Scruggs play this next weekend? That is yet to be seen. I'll keep you updated, though. Make sure you subscribe and tune in. And make sure you also have your notifications turned on. So if any news happens with the Texans on the injury front, if Scruggs is going to play, if anything goes down, you'll be notified. It's as easy as this. Go to the settings app, scroll down and tap YouTube, tap notifications, and turn on allow notifications. Or you just go down below, hit that bell underneath the video right now. I'm trying to get more notifications on this channel because I want y'all to be notified when there is Texans news. Now a little horns up, horns down, the segment that I promised at the top of the show. Horns up, that means you played well. You did a great job up against the Falcons. Horns down, got some work to do. I want to start with the good. Starting with the good today, horns up for Blake Cashman. I thought he played very well up against the Falcons. Since he's come back from injury, Blake Cashman, he's looked like the best linebacker on this team, in my opinion. Yesterday against the Falcons, 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a great quarterback hit that forced an incompletion up on Desmond Ridder. And Blake Cashman, he has been a pleasant surprise for this Texans defense. And I said it a little bit ago, I'll say it again now. He's been the best linebacker on this team, in my opinion. I mean, that's a lot to say with how well some of these guys have played. Denzel Perryman, Christian Harris, Henry To'oTo'o has played well for a rookie. But Blake Cashman, I think he's the best defender that the Texans have at the linebacker spot in any type of passing situation. He's also really good in the run game. So I would be typing in my BC right here. I want to hear from you folks at home. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video, so you might get hit with a YouTube ad break. But let me know, who's been the best linebacker on this Texans team? If you think it's Christian Harris, type CH, Denzel Perryman, type DP, Henry To'oTo'o, type HT, or if you think it's been Blake Cashman, go ahead and type BC. Next up, Grayland Arnold. He played so well, a depleted Texans secondary. He forced a fumble, a huge play in that moment of the game. Grayland Arnold, hats off to you. He's kind of filled that nickel role with Tavierre Thomas out, helping out with the safeties. I know Jimmy Ward is back, Jalen Pitre is back, but whenever they were both out, Grayland Arnold had to step up there. But he has been the unsung hero stepping up for this Texans defense. Hats off to you, Grayland Arnold. Good job. Also, great game against the Atlanta Falcons. Another player from the secondary that I thought played very well, Jalen Pitre. Hey, I know that last drive led a couple receptions up. I don't know exactly if it was his man or his responsibility, but throughout the game, Jalen Pitre was running around like a man with his head on fire. 11 tackles, 1 PBU, and picked up that fumble that Grayland Arnold forced. Great job by Pitre throughout this game. And I think Pitre, he's going to build on this. He's going to get better and better as the weeks go on. He was out for a couple weeks with that bruised lung, but I still believe Jalen Pitre, he has all the skills, all the ability to be a top safety in this league. He's just got to put it all together. I think Jalen Pitre had a pretty good game against the Atlanta Falcons. And now before we get with the rest of our horns up, horns down, got to show some love to our sponsor of today's video, Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy, folks. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this football season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. And hey, Monday Night Football going on in just a little bit. Here are my picks. Let's see if I hit it. I went more on Christian Watson, 48.5 receiving yards, more 4.5 rush yards on Jimmy G. This is the one where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's 4.5 yards, right? That's one scramble. My producer was telling me before we started, hey, what if they take a knee? What if they win? That hasn't been a problem for the Raiders lately. So I'm going for 4.5 more rushing yards for Jimmy G. 244.5 more for Jordan Love. I'm going 244.5 more on passing yards for Jordan Love. This Raiders secondary is depleted. And this one was fun. I think I just had to do this because of the brotherly connection. Daniel Carlson and his brother, who's the kicker for the Packers, Anders Carlson, more than 3.5 field goals in this game combined. I think we'll see that. I think we'll see more than 3 field goals in this Monday night game. But you got to get with Prize Picks. If you want to have some fun with me, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Next up on Horns Up, Horns Down, it's Dalton Schultz. Had what should have been the game-winning touchdown up against the Atlanta Falcons, but left a little bit too much time on the clock. But I thought Dalton Schultz looked pretty good this past Sunday up against the Falcons. 7 receptions on 10 targets, 65 yards and a touchdown. He was the most targeted Texan on Sunday, being that safety blanket for C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud did not have his best game whatsoever, but Dalton Schultz was there in key moments for C.J. Stroud whenever he needed him, including that last drive where they scored a touchdown. Lastly, Laremy Tunsil. I mean, I think the big guy doesn't get enough love. He was fantastic up against the Falcons. You know, the pocket collapsed somewhat at points, but I mean, C.J. Stroud, his jersey was clean at the end of the game, and it was due to this man right here. Pro Football Focus gave me these stats right here. On 35 pass blocking snaps, 0 sacks allowed, 0 pressures allowed by Laremy Tunsil. I mean, he does this week in, week out. Laremy Tunsil is the perfect guy for a rookie quarterback to be protecting his blind side. Laremy Tunsil, you at least have some peace of mind that, hey, I'm not going to get rocked like Daniel Jones does from behind. I have somebody who's going to protect my blind side, protect my backside when I absolutely need it. And I mean, I think he's the best in the league. I'm going out and saying that right now. Laremy Tunsil, I think he's 1-1 for left tackles. I think he is the best left tackle in the NFL. Do you agree with me, or do you think it's somebody else? Let me know down in the comments section. I'll be looking. Is Laremy Tunsil the best left tackle in the NFL? Give me a yes. Give me a no. If you're going to say no, you at least got to tell me who you think is better than him. You at least got to tell me who you think's better than him. I'll be down in the comments. I'll be replying. I want to see what you have to think. Now some horns down. Obviously, the Texans lost this game, so not everything was good for this team. One of them being this Texans running game. I mean, I really thought this was going to be the game where the Texans were able to kind of unleash it a little bit. Tytus Howard coming back. C.J. Stroud's been playing so well, so maybe that opens up the running game a little bit. Dameon Pierce, 22 carries, 66 yards. 3.3 yards per carry. I mean, not inspiring numbers at all. And I don't know if it's Dameon Pierce's fault. I don't know if it's, the offensive line not being able to run block as good as they pass block. But this Texans running game needs to get fixed. It needs to, get vamped up for the rest of the season if the Texans have any aspirations of winning a playoff game or even making it to the playoffs. Dameon Pierce, I don't know if it's your fault, and I don't want to say it's this guy's fault either, Tytus Howard. I just don't think he had his best game. I know Tytus Howard can play a lot better than he did than this past Sunday, and I really want to say, obviously it's his first game back. First game of the 2023 football season, so I know he's a little rusty. I'm glad Howard is back. He's back. So the Texans O-line getting a little bit more healthy. He played well, but you could tell he's still a little rusty. Got beat on a couple run plays. One in particular that comes to my mind is he got beat on a run play where Dameon Pierce just got totally busted up in the backfield. And I think, he got a little bit more pressure than you'd like up the middle on a couple of those pass plays, forcing C.J. Stroud to get rid of the ball. But all in all, I think Tytus Howard, I'm glad he's back. I think the Texans' offensive line is going to be better with him back week by week as he progresses and gets better. But this week, you could just tell he was a little rusty. That's it. You could just tell he was coming off where he hasn't played in a couple weeks. And the last horns down, I couldn't really give horns down to any single defensive player because I thought overall the defense played really well. I mean, you give up 21 points in a game. Usually, that's really good for your defense. I mean, 21 points, that's holding an opposing team to, lower than expected numbers. But the one thing that really got me was the D-line penalties. And I know this Texans team wasn't penalized a ton this past weekend, but there were multiple offsides and encroachment penalties by the defensive tackles. You're right there on the ball. Your head is over the ball. If it's not moving, why are you moving? That really frustrated me. It put the Falcons in, easier to gain situations, 1st and 5, 2nd and 5, and it really kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple times where this Texans defense were playing lights out. And then you get a couple penalties here and there. It really affects the whole mojo of the team. Those offsides and encroachment penalties, it really ticked me off. I can't lie. I mean, whenever you're over the ball and you jump off sides or get, an encroachment penalty, that's just boneheaded. That's just you not being in the game at that moment. I thought besides that, the defensive line played really well, but those couple encroachment and offsides penalties, that was rough. That was rough to see. Before I go, this Sunday, Texans take on the Saints. The Battle of the Bayou. Who's going to win? Who you got? Let me know. HOU for the Texans, NO for the Saints. I think the Texans got this. I think the Texans bounce back week for them. They're going to be playing well. A tough defense in New Orleans, but I think the Texans, they can pull it out. I believe in C.J. Stroud, CJ7. I'm typing in my HOU. Don't forget to subscribe as well for daily Texans news and rumors all week long. And let's go Texans.